Hey guys, I'm here with Nick Duray, all the way from Cali. I'm excited. Nick's been crushing the digital mortgage leads and any of the strong point leads he's been crushing. So, Nick, good to have you.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
How you been?
Uh been grinding, man. Been going.
Love it,
It's
man.
good.
Yeah. Kind of want to talk to you about kind of your start with working with Strong Point. How long would you start? How long have you been with them now?
So I got on Strong Point right around the same time that we all kind of started. I guess that was I want to say over a year ago.
Okay.
Back when they had the option to book an appointment for you and that kind of stuff. So man, when was that? I think it was last I want to say maybe last January, maybe even before that, but consistently since then up until now.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was kind of like your start? Like, did you hit the ground like producing at a high level with them, or what was that like kind of ramp up period for you? Like,
So we get told, or I got told, just like a lot, every time it's a new lead source, hey man, these are going to be really great. It's really high intent. I was told that with like when I first got a hold of fresh mailers and you know calling leads and all that kind of stuff. Heard the same stuff with the strong point with the digital leads.
mhm,
I really like the option in my mind, to have the client book their own appointment. It's like how much of a higher intent could you have, right? So I started off, I think the first four people that I sat with, I closed for, I want to say, at least how much I spent on the lead order at first.
okay,
Plus, I think I made an extra, like I made my money back plus and then a little bit, then some.
yeah,
And that was when the leads were a little bit higher priced.
sure,
But yeah, the intent was there for the clients, and it was just I think we're getting a little bit of feedback here. Just 1 second, sorry about that.
sure, yep,
And so yeah, the intent was really there, and there was not a lot of struggle with those first few appointments. But I definitely found out moving forward that my strategy had to change a little bit when running
okay,
them.
yeah. So you kind of had some success rate up, but you changed, yeah, changing strategies. What kind of started like really working for you?
So when I actually started figuring out how to run these things, so the intent is there. When someone fills out a form, especially when they book their own appointment, for most people that I have found when I'm sitting with these leads, with these digital leads, with these strong point leads, is there is something that happened in their life that made them specifically think about this. So life insurance in general, in my experience, it's one of those coverages that everyone is going to need. But the reality or the disconnect for most people is that yeah, I'm gonna die, but that's a million years away,
Sure,
you know. Or some people are so disconnected, it's like, oh, it's just never gonna happen. What I found with these strong point leads or these digital leads in particular is that I had to be better at fishing out why they filled out the form, because you get certain people that are just, oh, I just saw it on Facebook and I was bored and I was just up at 2 o'clock in the morning and sure, why not? But
yeah,
people that the biggest policies that I've written, um, that had the highest intent was because I was able to find out specifically why they filled it out and then confirm um, their why, if you will, as to yeah, that situation that you saw that is real and it's happened several other times to other people. That and helping manage their expectation on how the process is supposed to go,
okay,
because it is extremely difficult to get a hold of some of these people, as agents will. I'm sure newer agents will find when they first get a hold of their first batch of these. That can be frustrating.
yeah. What have you found that like to get a hold of them? What works best for you to get in contact with these leads?
So what I like to do is, and this is a lot of the stuff that I'm doing are things that I've learned from other people, talking to them, running them.
I
So
love it.
what I like to do is I like to go ahead and try and text the client first from my no, I have an iPhone. I don't use a dialer software or anything like that. When I do that, um, one, I get to know whether or not they also have an iPhone, because if you text iPhone, it shows up in blue. It's awesome. You can get a read receipt. and it lets them know that I'm a real person. And then trying to set up, hey, this is who I am. I send them a copy of my license in the text. Hey, I'm calling you because of this. I'm texting you. When's the best time that you're at home? Because what I find a lot of these people, when I try and book appointments with them, a lot of these people are working and they think that 5 minutes while they're in between their lunch break and their bathroom break, or they're in the middle of getting in the car, is enough time for us to go through the why, medical questions, and put in an application. It's not that they don't want to do it, it's just they're confused about what this process and the time that it takes to do it.
Love it. I
So
think that's bold for an agent, right? Because I think an agent may try to do like a one call close there, and they're just going to get shut down maybe a few minutes into it because they're at work and they got things down. And they thought you were just going to give them a little bit of information, right?
right.
So that's huge to
So
understand.
100%, 100%. And through trial and error, what I found too is that it's not that appointments don't work if necessarily. I obviously, if you can get a situation where you can do a one call close and they're at home, that's perfect. I
Mhm.
kind of do a when I do set these appointments, the higher likelihood I have for success is I ask them, I get them on the phone for a couple of minutes and I ask enough questions and I kind of build value to the appointment. So I'm kind of selling the appointment to them and asking them enough questions to figure out, okay, is a spouse necessary? Right? Because I've been taught, just like I'm sure a lot of people have, you don't do one leggers, right?
Mhm.
Certain circumstances, depending on what's going on, you can go ahead and do one, and it's even a little more advantageous to do a one legger. But I have to figure that out when I got them on the phone for 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, figure out if they're working, if they're traveling, if they're doing whatever, who I need to talk to, and when's the best time to get a hold of them, and then kind of try and figure out in that couple of minutes why this was so important to kind of field out if this is someone that's just was just up at 2 o'clock in the morning on Facebook, or it's hey no, and they'll tell you too. That's what I love about these leads. That the intent is so high. Hey, I'm calling you because my uncle. Someone just called me today. My uncle just went into the grocery store and had a heart attack,
Well,
and I just saw him do that. I like just happened last week. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've got to do something now.
love it.
And it's awesome. Well, we can get this done. And then I just reaffirm that you're right. This can happen at any time. It's going to take me about 10-15 minutes. When's the best time to make it easier for both of us? Those types of appointments are pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. I know you're really good at getting referrals. What does that kind of sound like? And what is that like? When did you start doing that? Have you always done that, or what kind of got you led to you doing that?
So I've actually been really bad about getting referrals. And when I've ran other types, and I believe referrals work for any type of lead that you run, because this is 100% a business of relationships and people, I believe. And but I was always nervous and scared because I thought it made me sound like a salesman and stuff. Honestly, when I first started out, but given how, and I keep saying intent, but the people that actually really want to go through with this from these leads, they have been thinking about it for a long time. A matter of fact, most of the strong point leads that I run, when they purchased a house within the last 5 years, they've gotten some of those mailers that a lot of us work and send out,
Mhm.
and they just didn't think it was important or they shrugged it off. So they are our clients from, even older leads. So what I learned how to do, and I actually got this from, I think I took pieces of it from Jonah, I took pieces of it from somebody else, is after we do the appointment, when we close it, and I'm going over their policy information, I say, okay, guys, so real quick, Mike, so you were approved. This is the policy number. I'm going to go ahead and do your emergency checklist, your ICE checklist, if you will. Let me explain to you why 90% of these policies don't pay out. It's not because the company is bad. It's because, unfortunately, nobody lets us know that there's been an event, that there's been a death or a chronic illness or a critical illness. And if you don't tell us or notify us, the insurance company is not just going to find out on their own.
Yeah.
So what we do as a courtesy, because you don't just get me while I do the application with you, you get me for the rest of your life. Okay. What you get, or what we do with you, is if we can just get 2 or 3 people that are close in your life that you trust to be able to let us know if something happens. What I'd like to do with you is just, if you can just give me their number, I'll just reach out to them, introduce myself. I'll text them first, send them a picture of my license, and let them know, hey, my name is Nick. I took care of, your sister, brothers, whatever, mortgage protection. I won't give them any specific details. I'll just let them know that you trust them as a part of their life to reach out to us to have our information if something happens to you. And what we found in doing that is we also get a chance to educate them on what mortgage protection actually is, because most people just don't know that what this is or think that they already have it. And you would agree, like we were talking about earlier in the appointment, if you could have found out about this 20 years ago, you would have done it and you would have had everyone else in your family do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of the times they beat me to it, and they're so happy and grateful to get it. They say, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and have everybody go ahead and get this for." I mean, I could think of one policy right now or one client that I'm actually getting another coverage for. Started out with an age strong point lead and got coverage, two coverages for herself, three of her children, and a neighbor.
Love it. That's
All
huge.
of that, yeah, all of that while I was in California, there in Illinois. So,
Yeah. So it's asking, right? I think that's the main thing, right? Just asking, and I think you set it up nicely with, the way that you do that I think is really powerful. And again, they're already kind of spitting out names and numbers to you before you can even
right.
finish. That's awesome. So love it. Anything else that you think you do unique with these mortgage leads that has helped you that would help a new agent?
I think, I mean, really, so with these leads, it's not, and I know that, and I've run into this myself. There can be a tendency to, so first off, these people are just as confused about what mortgage protection is
Yeah.
as any is, but they're curious and they have been researching stuff. So I think being not only assertive but confident in what, and being as simple as possible
Hmm.
during the appointment, and not try. I know there's a tendency. I've done this myself, being newer. When I'm nervous or not confident, I try to over explain to make them buy in that I know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And it just confuses them, and nobody, confused people don't make buying decisions,
Sure.
right? So what I've tried to do is be confident and really simplistic in how I'm describing the coverage to them, and asking enough questions to where I already know, even if they don't know what exactly their need is or their problem is, to where I have a solution for them, and then really getting them to just trust that hey, this is what everyone does in your situation.
Love it.
And really being assumptive with, guys, it's not really a question of if you need it. This is something that every person's going to need. The only problem is, are we going to be able to get you qualified based on when you actually got to find us, based on your age and based on your health? And really, what I found too is just like listening to what they're saying and kind of being open during the start of the appointment, and really structuring that and placing whatever that coverage is so it has the most value and the most emotionality, so that they actually feel like they've been taken care of.
Love it. So you're being very intentional with the words that you're using. You're not over talking. You're being very sounds like you're being very simple, simplistic, right? In your
Right.
approach to it. Yeah, I agree. I think people can over talk where eventually, it confuses them because you're talking, giving them so much information. They need to process it all, and then they're not going to make a buying decision because they have so much to think about.
Right. And really with them too is kind of, I like to ask them how long they've been thinking about it,
Hmm.
because the think about it time has already happened. I mean, especially with this type of lead, this is not something they, most people that I've talked to, oh, I just saw this yesterday. It's like, I've been thinking about this for 10 years, or I've been thinking about this for a while now.
How
And
are you
really,
pulling those? How are you pulling that out of the client?
so what
That.
I'll say, I'll say, hey, Mike, there's before I get into the questions about the house, there's really three reasons that people kind of are looking for this coverage that I found.
Mhm.
One is you just bought a house and you found out that your bank doesn't do this anymore, and they don't know how to give it to you. They just know you can't get it there. Okay. Two, you've just experienced either a death or an illness in your family members with your loved ones. You've seen the struggle of them trying to pull together and keep a house, or maybe you're about to get diagnosed with something yourself, realize you're not going to live forever. Or three, you're like the rest of us, and you've known that this is like, hey, I'm not going to live forever. I need to go ahead and make sure my want to make sure my family's protected. And then if you're like me, you think about it, you know it's important, and you blink and say, I'll do it tomorrow, and 10 years has gone by.
Yeah.
And the mistake that most people make, Mike, is people think that when I'm older, that's when I'll start looking for life insurance. All of this is based on your age. So the insurance companies know the older that we get, every day we get alive is a day closer to having one of these things happen.
Yeah.
So they're going to up our prices, they're going to make it harder for us to get. So it's really time sensitive to make sure that we can see if we can get you medically locked in and approved, and then we can deal with changing that as we go on. And I really try and stress that, hey, these numbers that I show you, they're just numbers, they don't matter.
Hmm.
The medical approval part is what matters. We can deal with the numbers, that's the easy part later, but
Yeah.
without these they do not matter. It's just it's a non-issue.
Love it.
And just kind of just being upfront and real with them, it's like, come
Yeah.
on guys, we 65 and we've been looking at this for 15 years. What are we going to do here?
Yeah. Love it. That's huge, man. Anything else? Any other parting shots or anything else of someone who's kind of maybe getting on any kind of digital mortgage lead for the first time that would help them?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's always a good practice, and I still do this to get fresh leads.
Okay.
I would say, especially if you've been running these strong points or digital mortgage leads for a while, and you kind of got burnt out on it, you've got gold sitting in your hard drive, or in however you store your leads in your CRM.
Yeah.
Because I have had people that have filled this form out 6 months ago, a year ago. I've had a client call me over a year ago that I kind of pulled a apply or decline, and I'm never going to talk to you again. Who said no, I'll call you back, and it took her a year, but she actually called me back, and it was like a $150 a month policy.
Yeah.
But going through these again um, is you're leaving money on the table if you're not.
Yeah.
So
Love it, man.
100.
Yeah, I appreciate. I think that's really helpful for a lot of agents. I think you dropped a lot of gold nuggets today. So, sorry about the little emoji there, but I
It's all
appreciate I appreciate taking time out of your schedule. I think there's a lot help a lot of agents, so I appreciate you jumping on, dude.
Hey man, thanks for having me.